and welcome to Sports Central. I'm Neal Duncan. We've got a great show lined up for you today. A look back at 2021. That's right, our year in review. Stick around, everybody, for this great edition of Sports Central. Welcome back to Sports Central. I'm Neal Duncan alongside Gerald Richardson. And the year in review, it's hard to believe we're at the end of 2021.
Yeah, they come quicker and quicker every year. It's hard to believe we're here to wrap up the season and talk about all the great events and all of our friends and partners.
Yeah, and speaking of partners, MABE Productions, great partner of Tourism and Sports Marketing, and they are this segment sponsor for us. But, as we look at the year in review show, this is your first one because you've been a guest on this show before, yeah. But having joined Tourism and Sports Marketing over the last 4 or 5 months, it's kind of neat to be on this side of it and see that these events don't just show up. It takes a lot of relationship building, the recruiting side of it, of what tourism and sports marketing does. But in the show, we're going to see some of those partners that have assisted us in making 2021 so great.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it does take a lot of work. A lot of people, see these events, whether it's softball, Ironman, or whatever they may be. That just are happening and don't realize the hard work that it takes getting those groups here, and not just getting them here, but keeping them here.
Well, and again, it goes back to the quality of life. So these events generate economic impact. They bring in new dollars, whether it's on the tourism side or the sports tourism side, bringing that money into Polk County. And then it's the quality of life side. So not only do we have world-class facilities working with all these different municipalities, of course, the Board of County Commissioners has been outstanding in their investment and certainly through the Tourism Development Council. And again, it takes partnerships, but the municipalities as well have really invested. And some of these interviews that we're going to see coming up in the segment are a testament to that.
Yeah, and that these events, as I mentioned, they do take work, but there's no way they would be here without our partners. The cities of Lakeland, Auburndale, Winter Haven, Haines City, our Parks and Recs. All of our groups that we're fortunate to have here in Polk County. The assets from facilities is just top to bottom, and whether it's whatever sport you want to go at, we got it.
Well, and Mark Jackson, the Director of Tourism and Sports Marketing, always says that the Field of Dreams is a movie, it's not a business plan. If you build it, they don't necessarily come to that venue, and that's true. And so you develop the supply side, you develop the demand, and then coincides with the supply side development. And again, not only are these world-class facilities for these event participants and spectators to enjoy, but our local citizens, our local residents here in Polk County. Too often we get caught up in we got to go here or we got to go there. Polk County is outstanding, and of course we want to remind you, Central Florida Sports, or visit centralflorida.org for a listing of events or those attractions or accommodations and the like. But as we look at this first segment, we're going to have an interview with Bob Donahue. Of course, he's with the city of Lakeland. You look at some of the recent development they've had. Of course, Lake Crago has been open for a little while now, but Cypress Youth, the 4 fields there, and then they're adding 2 more, so that'll be 6 multi-purpose fields just right next to Holloway Park. Then we're going to talk to Randy Knapp. You can't say enough about Cabana Club and soon to be Margaritaville RV resort there in Auburndale, just south of the Lake Myrtle Sports Complex. And then Julie Adams, she took over this year as the Director of Parks and Recreation for the city of Winter Haven. But you know what? The year in review isn't about Gerald or Neal. It's about listening to these interviews. So we're going to go ahead and toss it to our first set of interviews. We'll be right back here in the Year in Review 2021.
Finishing up tonight all the district tournament championship games for girls basketball. Girls and boys soccer, there's some semifinals tonight, and a lot of the championship games will be Monday and Tuesday. And then boys basketball districts start next week. And then the week after, then wrestling starts its individual, tournaments, district, regional, and state. So this is what everybody was hoping to get to without any COVID interruptions. And there's been, we had the shutdown over Christmas, to trying to settle things down. There have been some basketball teams that been under quarantine this week. Should be ready for next week.
So how's that looking? What teams have we got that you got to watch out for?
Well, for basketball, it is Bartow has a chance. It's kind of hard to get a good read on a lot of these teams because like tournaments and this weekend would have been the Mosaic Stinger Shootout, the big annual event at Bartow that has a lot of good teams in. Usually I can see all the top teams right before district and kind of really feel what they're doing, and everybody, some basketball teams canceled games this week just not to, hurt anything for the district tournaments. So
an abundance of caution.
Yeah.
That was the buzzword or the buzz phrase there for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, we got like Lakeland Christian girls soccer. They have a great chance to win state this year. They beat the defending champions at the beginning of the season, who knocked them out in the state semis last year.
We're very fortunate here in Florida that we are open. We are able to have a season. On top of the fantastic weather that we have here, nobody else is able to participate during this time of year. In my past life, we still got a foot of snow up in Michigan. So very happy for the climate down here. And yeah, we experienced a shutdown like a lot of states, but unlike some places in the country, we are, for the most part, restriction-free. A lot of it is county to county, so there are certain pockets still where there's resistance, but we just try to be as careful as we can. We have some very strict protocols that are in place. We try to limit the number of spectators that are there, but for the most part, we're very fortunate in just the nature of soccer. It's outdoor. There's not a field that's played on a larger surface than soccer. I mean, it's a large pitch, as we call it, and it's we're very fortunate. We're able to get a lot of season in, and while we've experienced some registration decrease, for the most part, people are playing soccer in the state.
People are looking to be outdoors, and soccer is one of the I mean, what's the statistic? It's the highest involved youth sport in the country is youth soccer. Yep, it is the most participated sport throughout the country. We have kids from 2 and 3 years old who are still tripping over the soccer ball, all the way up to your most competitive 19. And this year, because of COVID, 20-year-olds are able to participate. We extended the eligibility an extra year. So 100,000 players in the state of Florida. In a normal year, we represent and are members of FYSA. Add to that 20,000 adults, your coaches, your managers, team officials, board members. It's a large push all the way from the Panhandle down to Miami. We represent them all. And then nationwide, you look at 4+ million soccer players. Finally, state champions. It's been a long time, but how does that feel finally?
It's an unbelievable feeling. Jason and I have been working at this 17 years together. We've had tremendous teams over the years, and finally to push it to win that final game, to be one of the 6 teams who ended with the victory this year, was pretty special, with a special group of girls.
I honestly still have chills thinking about it. Thank God.
Because you've been there for a really, really, really long time, on the team, playing for how many years now?
7.
5?
I've been there since 6th grade. So
Unreal.
7, yes. It is
smart.
Yeah, she's a smart kid. Took her 5 of those years to get through 9th grade.
well, honestly though, 5 of those years were in the championships, right?
There you go. There's your segue.
Yep.
So, what was different about this year? You have 10 years consecutively making it to the Final Four. 5 of those being in the championship game, and this is the one that finally happens. What was different?
I feel like this one was more of the mentality. We were like, this is our year, we're gonna do it, and then we all had a game plan, we were gonna come out and we were gonna score. That's never been done in school history. We've never scored in a final match, and we did. We scored 4 times.
Yeah, I had a great chance to talk to your head coach, Jason Streets, last night on our Sports Central radio show, as you affectionately call it, the ugly sister show of Sports Central. But he mentioned the same thing. He said there was just something about the leadership within the team. And you guys were going to come out and do what had never been done. And he said that after that first goal, he started to just feel the emotion, because in his 17 years as coach, never has anyone even scored in that game, let alone finally win it. So truly an amazing accomplishment.
4 goals.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of, what was it like, on the team, and hey, we got our first one, we are going to rock. I'll put it
Oh
that
yeah,
way.
we were on.
I had to check what I was going to say.
We were on such like a high. We were like, oh my gosh, like we just scored. Like we actually can win this, and it was just so like amazing. And then we ended up winning. I feel like that's just where it came from. Was the first goal.
Yeah.
Well, that's tricky because they have the different distances. So obviously, the one in Haines City is what they consider the half triathlon, which half full, which is 70.3. So you have 3 disciplines. You have to practice with the swim, you have to practice with the run, you have to practice with the biking. And there's actually a 4th one, which is nutrition, which you have no idea how important that part is when you get to those distances. For the shorter distance, not so much, but the longer ones, yeah, because if you eat the wrong food, you're not going to have a good run because you might be spending more time in the portalette. But as far as the half, it depends on everybody's age, their experience and whatnot. It could be 20 weeks training, it could be 15 weeks, 16 weeks, but generally the average person takes about 20 weeks to train for the half. And the challenge for a lot of people is the swim part of it, because a lot of people don't have places to go to swim 1.2 miles to practice. Especially this past year with COVID, a lot of the pools were shut down. All I'm talking more so in the country. You got to figure up north, they can't get in the lakes up north.
Sure.
And so the pools that were indoor pools, a lot of them are coming to this race without a lot of swimming practice. So that is a challenge for them. This particular race we're having was deferred from last year. So the athletes that practiced for last year were told a month beforehand, this is canceled. So then they deferred it to December. And so they continued training on to keep their fitness level to a certain level, and then ramped it up again probably in November to be ready for December. And then that was canceled 3 weeks again before the race, because that's when we had that big surge in the numbers and it wasn't safe. So naturally you can feel the letdown for those athletes, and then have to vamp it back up probably somewhere between January is when most people vamped it back up. So a lot of people have been training for well over a year for this particular event.
And I know earlier in the year you sat down with us and told us about sitting down, and you have a stacked, an entire plan that you guys are going to have to, develop and implement. I mean, it was a tough job.
It is, and it's one of those situations where things come down from the top, but his plan is only as good as the people that follow it. So thank you to the coaches and the athletic directors that took the plan and had input in the plan, which I think is so important, because I didn't want to put, everything that we did as our part of our COVID plan was vetted through the athletic directors at the school and the coaches, because I didn't want to do something that says, we can't do this. There's no way. So I had coaches on the committee that we vetted this, and we did, try to pick the best possible solutions to make our student athletes the safest. And obviously, like anybody else, we had hiccups, but we did not cancel sports, and we finished, and seniors got their senior year, which was important to us. And and simple things like making senior night the first game of the year. We learned that last year when we had to cancel spring sports, and that was our biggest complaint, is they didn't get their senior night. So we did them first this year to make sure we got them in, because we took for granted always playing a full season. So I think it woke up our eyes to some important things, and I think we're slowly, hopefully, coming out of the pandemic. But I know that if another pandemic comes our way, we'll be more prepared how to handle it, and should be able to keep going forward. So we're excited.
I got a chance to watch some of the videos too from the state championship, and you threw it up like you do it every day. I mean, you probably do, but it seemed so effortless.
But we practiced like every day. Well, we did 5 days a week, and then I'd be in the gym for after that. So it was at least 6 days a week. I'd go once, twice a day, 2 to like 4 hours of work. So it was a lot of work to get there.
Well, pump and iron isn't exactly, at least in the competitive realm, is not a common thing. You're not exactly going to pop into Harborside Restaurant and go, oh, there's a wrestler, or there's a weightlifter, there's another weightlifter, let alone a female. How did you get started in this? I mean, you're a little munchkin running around going, boy, I can hardly wait to throw up, 150 pounds on bench press. So what happened?
Well, I started doing CrossFit when I was 11, so that was over 6 years ago now. So I've been just doing exercise for a while.
Okay.
My sister got me into it, and I loved weightlifting the most out of all the different parts of CrossFit. And when I was going into my junior year of high school, I had a friend tell me, you should try weightlifting at Auburndale. And so I met the coach, and he was awesome. And my first year, I got third at state, my first year of weightlifting. And then this past year, I got first, so.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sports Central. I'm Neal Duncan alongside Gerald Richardson, and some great interviews there. And again, this isn't. We don't have enough time to show all of the interviews from this year, but this is just a snapshot, if you will, of the great guests that we've had here on Sports Central in 2021.
Yeah, we've had a long list of them. I've only been doing it 5-6 months now, but just the opportunity that we've had to bring in some of the people here in Polk County, and then some of the event operators that aren't from Polk County.
Sure.
Is a long list of great individuals.
Well, in this segment, brought to us by Hollywood Signs and Window Tinting right here in Bartow, great partner of Tourism and Sports Marketing, so appreciate their partnership in this segment. But speaking of partnerships, the next 3 interviews that we're going to look at in our 2021 year in review, we'll start with Roy Fuco. Of course, Roy does a tremendous job for the Ledger. The Ledger, a great partner of Tourism and Sports Marketing. But in 2021, we were able to return to, in person, the Polk County All Sports Awards and Hall of Fame induction ceremony. That was this past June, and it was just fantastic to be back there. I want to say thank you to the RP Funding Center and all their efforts, and because we were kind of, you got to make sure that safety and all those things were a part of it, especially an event that size. But we want to thank the Ledger and Roy and their coverage of not only during the year, but their high school sports, because this is a hotbed of talent.
Yeah, Roy does. Roy does a phenomenal job with high school. I don't think you could ask him anything about any team, whether it's high school basketball, volleyball, swimming, and he wouldn't know, who the top athletes are and how many years they've been in school. And he's pretty sharp when it comes to his prep reports.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll hear from Roy in one of his interviews with us here on Sports Central this year. We're also going to have Emily Hart. Emily was here on Sports Central, and if you remember, Gerald, she was actually a weightlifter from Auburndale High School who won I believe it was the first state championship ever, first female state championship in weightlifting there from Auburndale High School. Just a great feat for her.
Yeah, that was a great interview with Emily, and great feat just to be the first to do really anything, but weightlifting champion it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, like you say, I'm sure many more will come behind her, but she's always going to be able to say, I won that first title. And then Joel Dragon, Joel is the executive director of the Florida Youth Soccer Association, and maybe sometimes we don't talk enough about the amount of events and economic impact coming in from soccer, because over a decade ago, before Florida Youth Soccer Association was recruited to Polk County, there wasn't near as much soccer going on in Polk County as there is now, and Joel took over literally, I think, a couple months right before the pandemic. So he's been sorting through all that like everyone else has. But a great interview with Joel. Yeah,
Joel and FYSA are, like you say, we don't realize sometimes what we have right here. I mean, they're anywhere 30 to 35 events a year that they run out at the Lake Myrtle Sports Complex, and just a fabulous organization there with the Florida Youth Soccer Association.
Absolutely. Well, as I said in our first segment, you're not here to hear Gerald or Neal. Let's hear from our great interviews. We'll be right back here on the Year in Review on Sports Central.
Studied, viewed, visited communities all over the country, and tried to come up with a bar-setting resort that takes the RVing to the next level. So we've got, like you said, Mark, full hookups, wide sites, long sites that will accommodate any size coach or pull behind, bumper pull, fifth wheel, all the slide outs. however many roof airs. Some of these units today have 4 roof airs, so we've got plenty of power.
Now, what's a roof area? It goes
That's
the
your air,
roof goes
that's
in-
your, no, that's your air conditioning unit.
Oh,
They
okay.
demand a lot of power. And
Okay.
a lot of the older RV resorts can't accommodate those type of electrical hookups, and we can. We've
Done your homework on all
done our
that.
homework.
That's
But it-
fantastic.
you know, and even if you don't have an RV, you're going to have quite a few what you're calling cottages.
Correct.
And there will be a complementary effect between all the sports activity at Lake Myrtle and this RV resort, and you know, some of the amenities. Tell us about that. I mean, we're talking about the hookups, you know, and the real long tracks that they're parking the vehicles on, but there is so much more. I mean, I think I've got a really good elevator speech down for that, but you're the boss.
Well, we've got, as you mentioned, cottages. We've got a lot of customers that would like to stay and live the RV lifestyle and experience it before they purchase an RV. So we're putting in cottages. In phase 1, we'll have 60 cottages, but when we get phase 2 done, we'll have a total of 125 cottages. These cottages are 499 square feet. They each have full kitchens, living room, full bath, bedroom, and porches that are covered on the outside. And then in addition to that, their own parking spot, their own picnic table, charcoal grill. It's really unbelievable. And
I might have to sell my home and move over
I was
there.
Might
going to
have
say
to,
the
man.
same thing.
Right.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
You got the lake there, the ski park, a little putt-putt.
Right, right.
And we are really excited. A lot of really good vibe out there in the world of aviation, and those that just love aviation, not just our pilots, but the folks that are looking forward to Sun and Fun. So we're full on. We have all of our preparations are in place for a good, safe environment. Really, you know, regardless of your tolerances, you can definitely find plenty to do on that over, you know, almost 1,100 acres to come out and enjoy in the fantastic Polk County sunshine. So we're looking forward to it.
And so what special things are going to be happening at Sun and Fun this year?
Well, it's always special. Certainly returning after a year hiatus there is going to be one of our big things. Our theme this year is obviously we're back. And we don't need roads. You know, that's another thing. We've got a little Doc Brown reference there from famous movie. But you know, back to the Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo, and boy, we got a lineup. We're looking at the United States Navy Blue Angels returning, and this is the debut, the very first time the public will see the new Super Hornet platform for the Blue Angels. They retired the Legacy Hornet in November, and they've been practicing all winter now, and they're ready to roll out. This will be the very first appearance anywhere of the new platform. So real excited about that. With them will come Fat Albert, the C-130 Hercules. It's our support aircraft, and that aircraft was actually grounded the last 2 times they came to Sun and Fun. So this will be the first time that Bert, as they affectionately call him, is going to be performing in the air show. So that big bird up there doing what it does is going to be something fun for people to see. Yeah. So F-22 Raptor making its return. So that represents our military. United States Navy Leapfrogs are going to give us some parachute jumps out of Fat Albert, of all things. So that's going to be kind of cool. And then all of our favorite civilian performers in the air show. And then, of course, we're going to commemorate several things we couldn't last year that were intended. So the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II. So we'll have a lot of World War II aircraft there on the ramp. We have our 75th anniversary of the Pitts Special. You know, Curtis Pitts, all the way back in the middle of a war, you know, right at the end of the war, develops this cool little aerobatic airplane that's launched the careers of so many aerobatic pilots like Sean Tucker and just, you know, Skip Stewart and just all these different guys that have got such a fantastic mainstay now, and even some of our ladies got their start in those things. Jackie Warda and some of those are really, really phenomenal performers now. So it's a great commemoration, a lot of things that we're going to pick up where we left off, a lot of things that are new that were going to happen this year, including the 75th anniversary of the Blue Angels themselves.
This thing has gone better than I think it ever has.
Thank you.
So, but an exciting season. And yes, we're having a season this year.
Yes, we are. For those of you who forgot, March 13th of last year is when spring training ended due to COVID, and everything ended that day. There was no more practices, everybody went home, everybody got sent home, stadium was locked down, and came back later for an abbreviated spring with just players only, and then they played, of course, in a bubble, you know, between Toledo and Detroit. This year we're excited. We have fans back in the stands again. We have hot dog vendors. We have,
strawberries. Is Linda doing the strawberries again?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Strawberry shortcake with Linda Brown from Dairy Queen. All those things are returning. It's going to be different. 2,000 people in the stands. Our stadium actually seats 8,000. We'll have 2,000 in the stadium. We'll have 50% in the larger party areas, 75% in the suites, and we're going to make a decision about selling what we call standing room only, SROs, tickets, 300 to 400 possibly, for each game. So if somebody comes up to the stadium. Now, exciting for us is, good for us and somewhat not so good, is that we put tickets went on sale yesterday, and a lot of other spring training sites, when we were talking to them, theirs was going rather slowly. We sold out in 3 hours.
Wow.
So we're going to look for today's meeting that we're having today at 1:30, looking for other opportunities for our fans to be able to still get inside our stadium for spring training. So, obviously we want to take care of our local residents, folks from Polk County, and we want to take care of our out-of-state residents. If they come down from Michigan or somewhere up north, we'd like to get them into our stadium because we don't want to lose our fan base, because our fan base will be back hopefully at 100% next year. So, we're excited about all of that transpiring. Yes, it is a little bit different. Your hot dog's not going to be in a little boat. It's going to be in a plastic container. We have protocols that we're going to follow to make it safe for our fans so they feel confident coming in.
Yeah.
So like I say, it's a little twist, it's a challenge, which is kind of cool. I kind of like that, whatever makes you think outside the box. But it's exciting, and we're excited to have spring training again in Lakeland.
Believe it or not, before the virus, we had 1,000 show cars, about 15,000 people came out. When you give away a free car, it's totally free. We don't sell tickets. You just put your name in a box, we pull your name, you win the car. It's fun. Wow. We give away, this year we got donated from a really great sponsor out from California, West Coast Core, donated a free turnkey 1600 engine, Volkswagen Beetle engine, for free. We're just going to give it away.
Wow.
Aside with the car. So it's nice. We have some really great sponsors that really are in tune to this event in Florida, because they want Florida to be successful. It's usually the West Coast, and now we're promoting the East Coast, and this is Florida, and Florida's open, and we're open for business. We're open to do good job. We're finding with the CDC, making sure we do all that, with the food and everything, because we do the catering to keep the food costs down. So that way people don't have to spend $10 for a cheeseburger, they sell them for $5.
Wow.
$3 hot dogs, $3 fries, $1 for a drink. We still sell the same price as we always have, and because when you got a family of 3 kids and you go out to lunch, you can't spend $200. So we do affordable for everybody, so everybody can come out and have a good afternoon. It's a beautiful weekend. We have free overnight camping. We're not going to do the bouncy house because of the virus thing, but we're still doing a lot of things that free pizza Saturday night for everybody. We do it for everybody, so that way, it's fair for everybody, not just for the vendors, but we do it for everybody, so it makes it nice. And
you're stepping into a situation where there's a lot of new things coming to Winter Haven. Just opened up the Advent Fieldhouse within the last year or so. Huge responsibility there, particularly as we went through the things we went through last year. But there's more to come. But tell us a little bit about what your impression is of the Advent Fieldhouse, and how has that benefited the city and the community in general?
Oh man, I don't have enough time.
That could be one show.
Yeah, it really could. I'm a Winter Haven, not resident anymore, but I'm a native, and so coming back to this job for me is like coming home. Obviously, I was just right next door in Lakeland, but it has just been so awesome to see from an outsider's perspective looking in of the development and the intentionality on recreational services to our area, and how we're making a statement that this is going to be an exclamation point of what we do for not only now but years to come. And just starting with, if you're approaching Winter Haven from the overpass and just seeing that beautiful facility at night, oh man, like I've done literally. I've done the loop around so I can do it again, just to be able to see. It just is so awesome, like that gateway into Winter Haven. Again, making that statement, hey, we're here. Recreation is a part of our blood. That's what we do. And so just, again, coming through the challenges that we had last year and still being able to thrive and maintain service to not only our local community, but regional, statewide, and nationwide, you know, thanks to you guys and the work you're doing to bring in those events into our community. But what a beautiful place. I mean, the amenities it provides, the partnership that we have with Rich Art and with our theater organization to really rise up that cultural perspective of our department. And again, making that statement that we're not just Parks and Rec, but we're Parks, Recreation, and Culture. And that's just as important as the other amenities that we provide. But just, you know, the court space, the mezzanine, the service to the community at large, and being able to have the fitness center. But just my hat goes off to that staff there. Scott Eilers and his team have done an impeccable job of keeping that place safe and letting people recreate in a safe environment through the pandemic. And now we've had a little bit of relief with CDC's recommendations and not having to do as much as often, but still maintaining safety as a priority. And bringing people back to play. I mean, we need that. As humans, we need to have that recreation component to keep the rest of us healthy and well. And that commitment to wellness, I think, is just expounded upon in that facility.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sports Central. I'm Neal Duncan alongside Gerald Richardson, and we head into our third segment here.
Yeah.
Some more great interviews there.
Yeah, definitely so. And this segment brought to our friends over at BSN Sports. They do a fabulous job for us in products and so forth, and I can't thank those guys enough.
Yeah, it takes a lot of different pieces of equipment to facilitate all these sports in Polk County.
Definitely.
Of course, this past year, more than 270 sports and special events hosted from October 2020 through the end of September 2021. So getting back to those pre-pandemic levels, and of course sports was a leader in coming out of the pandemic, which caused a slowdown obviously in our economy. So we're very blessed again. So all these interviews are people we're working with to bring in sports and special events into Polk County, and then you sprinkle in a lot of other events, and it's just a great community to live in.
Yeah, definitely. There's every weekend. If you're looking for something to go see and go do when it comes to the sports realm, there's you name it. Every weekend there's 3, 4, 5, 6 events happening somewhere in this county.
Well, and we'll also talk about the fact that, PGTV, maybe we don't give them enough credit. Maya Nelson and her whole crew with PGTV, they do an outstanding job of giving Polk County a competitive advantage when it comes to recruiting events, videos and highlight packages and things like that. But one of the features in Sports Central is highlighting some of those events that have been recruited to Polk County and have taken place. So this whole segment is going to be events that have recently taken place here in Polk County. I think not that one is better than other, but we're going to see the Florida Runners Invitational. Of course, that's at Holloway Park, the largest cross-country event in the state. Of course, the FHSA State Cheer Championship, it was unable to take place in Gainesville the way it was previously scheduled. So the partners of the RP Funding Center, the Polk County Public Schools, and of course, Tourism and Sports Marketing came together. We're able to move that event very quickly to the RP Funding Center. So we're going to take a look at that. And Jeeping with Judd, that's a pretty cool event.
That is. That's one of those, man, I've seen the footage, and it's one of those where you wish you had a Jeep and go out and climb the rocks and little mounds and so forth. It definitely looks like a fantastic event to be a part of.
I always think that yes, it seems like it'd be cool to have a Jeep, and then I see it and I'm like, it's probably not a good idea for me to have a Jeep because that thing's going to end up over on its side. But let's go ahead and look at these great highlight packages from events from 2021. Gerald and Neal will be right back here on the Year in Review.
Here's the 20th annual Florida Runners Invitational here at Holloway Park. It's a big event for all cross-country athletes out here all over the state. About 5,000 athletes, 200 teams from all over the state coming together to run on the notoriously difficult Holloway Park course here in Polk County. the company I work for, Flow Sports, we put on this event 20 years ago. The founder of FloridaRunners.com, Jason Byrne, he started this event with the pure intentions of giving, an event for athletes to really come and enjoy and remember for years to come. So as the editor for Florida Runners, it's awesome to see these athletes, cover them, take photos of them, and get their interviews, really let them cherish the moment that they're having here.
Really, for anybody that's an adult, we're there to promote soccer through local leagues that offer players accident insurance in case they get injured while they're playing. It gives organization and structure to leagues throughout the state of Florida. We have over 10,000 players that are actually registered through about 20 different leagues. And we offer several tournaments to give opportunities for men and women to play. Small-sided 7v7 tournament like we do in Naples, or our State Cup, or our Florida Classic where we're at today, which is 11v11 full-size games.
This is a pretty special team. You've got 18 really phenomenal people that play softball. And so if you can get the best 18 together and spend as much time as we're going to spend together over the next 220 days, it gives yourself a chance to win in the locker room and the dugout, which obviously is going to give you a chance to win on the ball field, and I think we have that.
We've been around for almost 17 years, I think. We've come to the Lakeland show. It's our Fire Expo. We come once a year for several years now, which is it's a pretty popular show out here in Lakeland. So the focus of our event is to get reptiles to people. So we're a hugely retail-oriented show. You can purchase your animal here, you can purchase all of the supplies you need here, from food to cages, from the information you would need on how to take care of each different species. So it's a great way to introduce animals and reptile keeping to people, and also making sure that they have everything they would need for them.
Hello everybody, Hank Longo for PGTV at the 15th Barkley Bean Bryant and Friends. This is just a phenomenal fundraiser to raise money for the first tee here in Lakeland, and Sir Charles has come for 15 years in a row. He's magnificent, and it's going to be a fun day sharing time with him. This is the Charles Barkley that they need to see because of your generosity, your sincerity, and what you do for these kids at the first tee in Lakeland.
Well, listen, they do a fabulous job. When Brad and Andy asked me, I'm like, and Barney, I'm like, yeah, and I've had a great time. I've been in fun 13, 14 years. It's a great event. The city of Lakeland roll up, they just come out and support the event. Met some really awesome people down here over the years. But all the love should go to Publix and Andy and Brad.
aircraft is to teach people with physical disabilities how to fly. So the whole left side of the cockpit is really adaptive controls for somebody who's a paraplegic or amputee. So we put hand controls in it, and there's a very custom screen you won't really find anywhere else. The screen is basically on a TV mount, so you can slide everything out of the way, roll your wheelchair up, climb in the airplane, and pull it all back. And you know, it's one of those things that's very unique to that market.
So if you don't have the use of your legs, you can't use the rudder pedal. So we were thinking about it, and we came up with this left-hand rudder control. So forward would be right rudder, and back would be left rudder. And with this, you can pilot the aircraft just as everybody else can with the controls.
One of the staples here at Sun and Fun are the Amish donuts. I'm with Regina here at Peachy's Baking Company. Tell me a little about the business.
We're a small family business. We're based out of Sarasota, and we've been coming to Sun and Fun for quite a few years. It's one of our favorite events as far as the people and just, yeah, the things to do around here.
What makes this event unique for you guys to come to?
We really enjoy just the activities that happen during the day and after. We're able to obviously watch air shows while we're working. It's a great part of it, and then it's just a very fun atmosphere and environment to be in.
What are some of the unique selling points on your menu, and what makes your donuts so unique that everyone wants to come try them while they're here?
It's definitely become a tradition here. Like in the mornings, a lot of the campers come out, get dozens, take back to the camp. Our donuts are unique. They're a yeast-risen sourdough, so they're kind of the light and fluffy. All the ingredients are made in the trailer. Everything's fresh. That's what makes them unique.
Well, what we have here is we have a wing rib set up for a Pete and Paul air camper, which is an experimental home-built design. It was actually designed in 1920. I've actually built one of these and completed it and been flying it for 11 years. So what we have here is just a wing rib jig, and this is how the wing ribs in a Pete and Paul, there's 31 or 32 of these ribs. So this is all like Sitka spruce wood that we've cut out in advance, and we've got all these sticks. So Colton here is learning how to put one of these wing ribs together. If you have all of these sticks cut out like this, you can glue one of these together in about 45 minutes or so. So we're using like a T80 epoxy glue. He's wearing his gloves and everything to keep off his hands. Don't touch your clothes because it will mess up your clothes.
I'm with Frank Tiano Enterprises here at Lakeland Linder Airport in Lakeland, Florida. We're having Florida Jets 2021. We've been doing this on the airport for a little over 20 years, and this year is a very special year. We lost our good friend Frank Tiano in January, and Sean Curry and myself have stepped up to run the event. This is a model jet event. These are small gas turbines. They're in aircraft ranging from about 20 pounds up to about 75 pounds. They fly anywhere from 15 miles an hour up to 200 miles an hour. We have about 120 registered pilots on the field, and we're going to have about 400 aircraft on the field.
Hello, I'm Sheriff Grady Judd, and welcome to 2021 Jeeping with Judd. This is the Polk Sheriff Charity Fundraiser, where we raise a lot of money and then we help those that are less fortunate in the community. And you know, we couldn't make this work without all of the volunteers that help us. One of our #1 volunteer that's out here today supervising is Chairman Rick Wilson. He is our chairman of the Board of County Commissioners and one of my friends.
Grady, it is great to be here, and this is unbelievable what's been going on here.
You know, I've came in the past couple years and came out here, and this thing just keeps growing. I mean, this is a great piece of property, and we're going to run out of room before long.
Back to Sports Central for our fourth and final segment. Neal Duncan alongside Gerald Richardson, and I really do. This is. I mean, there's no guests in studio, so that takes away from it. But this is one of my favorite episodes of Sports Central because, you know, it's a sense of pride when you look back at all the events that have been recruited and all the success that has taken place. It's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it is. You get that opportunity to sit back and kind of see everything that we've done for the year and kind of take that in. Sometimes in the day to day, we're so busy and doing this and doing that and getting this event here and that and booked in.
Checking off, doing the check off list.
You don't get the opportunity to sit back and see the things that have happened. But this segment brought to our friends, but the Hampton Inn, Winter Haven.
Yeah, great partners, tourism, sports marketing, the Hampton Inn in Winter Haven, and again, you look at the entirety of what. Leisure travel, tourism to Polk County, and then sports tourism. They're coming in, they're staying at the hotels, they're shopping, they're eating, they're investing, if you will, in the Polk County market with their dollars, and then they leave, and then more people come in. So it is really good for that economic impact for Polk County, very much so. Well, one of the features here at Sports Central, each and every show, is the Athlete Spotlight. Again, earlier in the show, we talked about the Polk County All Sports Awards, which is held annually in June. We talk about there's a lot of logistical details that have to be checked off that list that you were talking about, but there's no shortage of talent to recognize at that event. And kind of a precursor to that is the Athlete Spotlight each show.
Yeah. There's the Athlete Spotlight is really a neat segment that we do with our shows. Get that opportunity to highlight some of those athletes. Some are local,
up close and personal.
Yep,
yeah.
Local athletes, and really get to know them a little more in depth. And like you say, there's a long list. We could go every show, every segment.
Sure.
With a local athlete highlighting achievements and things that happen right here in the county.
Yeah, and of course we were talking earlier, and we heard from Roy Fuco from the Ledger. Each week they have a top 10 poll, top 10 tremendous 10 poll. Yeah, thank you, tremendous 10 poll. In the past, the sports staff would name those top 10 athletes, but now it's switched over to a poll, so fans can be interacting with that information, and it's just a great feature. So we'll see that in a minute. In fact, we'll just thank our show sponsors and throw it to that. Let's do that.
Oh yeah, special thanks to our friends over at the Staybridge Suites, the Ledger Media Group, along with the Holiday Inn Winter Haven, Parties Rentals Unlimited, and Lake Myrtle Dental.
You can also tune in to our sister show on Talk 1430, WLKF, and Talk 96.7, Thursdays from 5 to 6 p.m., or Tuesdays on Mayhem in the AM from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Of course, you can go to centralfloridasports.com or visit centralflorida.org. You may have family and friends coming in. You definitely want to go to visitcentralflorida.org for those things to see and do in Polk County. Or you know what? Give us a call at 863-551-4750. The next live edition of Sports Central is going to come to you on January 21st, 2022. So until then, for the entire crew at PGTV, for Gerald Richardson, I'm Neal Duncan. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and we will see you in 2022.
Kelly Breeden, and I'm a senior biochemistry major at Florida Southern College, and I'm a part of the water ski team. So for the water ski team, I'm a slalom specialist, and I've been a part of the team all 4 years. I started skiing when I was 7, just with my dad and my mom on the river, and then we only live about 2 hours from a pretty world-renowned ski school, so we drove over there and they basically taught me competitive skiing, and I just fell in love with it immediately and did my first competition when I was 8 and was hooked ever since.
Let me win. Let me win. But if I cannot win. But if I cannot win. Let me be brave. Let me be brave. And the end attempt.
That's a money shot. Awesome.
Well, when Joseph was born, he's 28 years old. When Joseph was born, we had no idea that we were going to be handed a Down syndrome child. And it was quite a shock. And for the first 24 to 48 hours, it was very much of a shock. He had a little bit of a health issue, so he had to stay in the hospital. During that time, we had some reckoning to do, and we came to the conclusion that this was our gift, and it was our obligation to do things with him and make him the best that he could possibly be.
I started skiing when I was, I think, 8, and that was up in Washington, the state of Washington. And we moved down to Florida for my brother to barefoot more, and it just kind of caught on. We all kind of just grew to love the sport more. It's like a big family. It's really nice to be able to do all these shows. Even with the pandemic and such, we're still able to come together as a family and enjoy our time. During the shows, I am a part of the ballet line, Star Swivel, and 360 line.
It's mountain biking. I got involved, I think, like 4 or 5 years ago. I started with BMX, and when my local track got closed down, I started riding. And over time, I did some of the local races here, and then I eventually came into this.
Well, it started with my dad. He started to bike ride, and then he decided that I should bike ride as well. So we just started to bike ride, and that all happened in 2012, I think. So every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, we always go riding. And we mostly spend around 2 hours here. And before, I wasn't really good at this, but after a lot of bike riding, I've gotten a lot better.
I am small, but I am mighty. I will push you off the wall if I need to, but I've never been the tallest person on the team. I've never been the biggest person. I've never had this broad stance or anything. People look at me and they're like, oh, she's small. She's not really, she can't really do anything. And I'm growing up, I grew up against older girls and playing, especially coming into, from elementary school into middle school and then playing on the high school team, I'd be playing against seniors. So I'd have to match that level. And so I'd have to be starting to push senior girls off the ball that's 18 years old as what, 14, not even. And so that's where most of that came from. And then ever since then, it just kind of helped building me up.
When I first started when I was 4, I started racing a champ kart on dirt, which is a little bit different pavement. And after there, I said when I was on 6 or 7, we made a move to a flat kart, which those have no seat belts and no roll cage, so you're kind of just in the seat, hanging on to the steering wheel. You also have a helmet, jeans for protection, and a jacket, just to make sure you don't get burnt. And then after that, I'd say around the age of 13, before I turned 14 in September, we started racing legend cars, and here I am today.
Well, it takes a lot of mental toughness to be here, really, just because there's always competition. There's always someone going after your title. There's always someone that wants to be better than you. And being a school athlete, you really have to keep your grades up, and then you have practices 3 or 4 days a week. You really have to keep your time sorted out. Time management is a really big thing that coach always gets on us about, but it's really just, you have to be tough mentally, physically, and just work through it.
I think this program prepares you pretty much for everything in life. She teaches you how to manage your time pretty well, how to budget, how to manage going from cheer to a basketball game, or from my case, I work on the side too. I manage how to work go from practice to work, go from work to basketball games and competitions, and how to manage my schedule that way, especially with homework involved.
I've been riding for since I was 4 or 5, so I've been riding for 7, 8, 9, around those many years. And I started on a bike with training wheels.
I got into it because of my dad. When I was like 8, he just got me into it, and I just kept doing it because I enjoyed it. I don't know, it's like, I just like going fast. It's just fun. It's just like the speed, just like going down hills, jumping and stuff.
I was originally a gymnast and I did dance for a couple years. And then one day I just decided to try something new and I wanted to do soccer. And so right from the dance studio, me and my mom, we went to the soccer field and then signed up, and then I've been playing ever since. It's brought a lot of friendships. It's literally, my life is soccer. So everything that I do, everything that I do and say like revolves around soccer. So it's brought just like fun, friendships.
I was born and raised in Switzerland. I went to high school there, and then I decided to come to Florida Southern because of the water ski team and the scholarship that I got here. I started water skiing when I was 8 years old on a public lake in Switzerland. There was not that much competing going on at home, and that's why I decided to come here to Florida, because this is basically the central of all the tournaments. Ever since the first time I stood on skis, I fell in love with the sport. And early on I decided to compete. Growing up, I didn't have that much opportunity to water ski just because location-wise I live very far away from lakes. So I had to dedicate a lot of my free time in order to travel all around Europe just to get to water ski lakes. And I would spend every free moment, every weekend, every holiday somewhere at a lake water skiing instead of being able to hang out with friends from school. And it takes a lot of time and dedication, but I fell in love with the sport early on, and it was totally worth it for me.
I actually started doing CrossFit when I was about 11. My favorite part of that was weightlifting, and I had a friend who introduced me to the weightlifting coach at Auburndale High School. I actually didn't go there until I started weightlifting, and but I met with the coach, and he was super nice, and we just really connected, and then I just started going to practices, and I loved it because weightlifting always had been my favorite part of CrossFit, and that's what I was best at. And I just felt like I really excelled in that.
Both my parents have been skiing since they were kids up in Iron Mountain for Badwater Skeeters, and they moved down here to start skiing for the old Cypress Gardens, and I've just been skiing ever since I've been born, ever since I can remember.
So I originally started playing baseball when I was 9. I just always wanted to throw and catch with my dad, and then ended up playing until I was about 15, tried out for my high school baseball team. They said, "You're too short," and the boys are pretty much gonna, the boys were too big. And so I ended up switching over to softball when I was about 15, going on 16. And then ever since then, I fell in love with softball and knew I wanted to pursue it in college.